Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for another Monday Novice Fight with me, your host, Imperial Dane, with tactical strategic analysis and all the history goodies. A 2 versus 2 video today, and of course, remember, Monday Novice Fight means we are watching novices play. That is, people who are not quite there yet with the game, not quite comfortable with strategy and tactics, and we are going to help them a bit while also shouting at them a bit. But let you know, keep it civil, no obscenities. We shall be watching Mehmet and Made4war. Too bad it's for war and not for war. Yeah. Anyways, fighting for the Soviets, fighting for the 230th Rifle Division, leading the spearhead of the 4th Shock Army as they're clashing into the flanks of Army Group North. Opposing them there shall be Mehmet and Yuri, holding up Sperrgruppe Ritter, blocking the line as the front line has all been pierced, and they have been sent in to hold up this Soviet advance until the Panzer divisions can arrive. And already within the first few seconds, we're seeing a Molotov out here for Mehmet. I'll just call him Mehmet. A bit bold, a bit aggressive, particularly since he's only got 2 units. I think, that's a bit too early. Preferably you should be either having 2 conscripts or 3 conscripts. I mean, you can sure get it out here, but you're also going to be rather, well, a bit on your own if it doesn't work out, because then your infantry is really going to be far off, and he's already delaying a bit of that second squad. And every second he delays that is a further problem. And also note here the curious capping order, going straight for the fuel, right there. And the Wehrmacht, who are sitting straight for the centre, of course, Ost here, have rather ignored the right-hand side as well. So there's some oddities right there going on from Yuri and Mehmet, who are now sending both the Grenadier squads up the centre. And again, already here, floating manpower, not training units. Again, that is something you should train yourself towards. Just build units, build stuff. And particularly in the first few minutes, what you get out there is incredibly vital. That's really where you can't afford to have any minute gaps where you're floating resources. That is absolutely the worst time to be floating resources. Again, you should never do so, but again, within the first, say, 5 minutes, you really should do your bloody best to avoid floating them. We also note here immediately a novice thing, that is, just watching an MG towards a house. Sometimes it can work, but again, note how this house is placed. It's actually pretty poorly placed. More specifically, the MG in the house. Molotov going off there, and the grenades immediately bursting one of them into flames. Yuri here needs to retreat. Come on, Yuri, Rückzug! Get them out of there. But again, note the building right here can't really fire past the fence, which means it only has an arc right about there, perhaps a bit there, but still not the best placement. Certainly won't cover this point. And again, could have been helping at the front line. These Grenadiers don't need to get out of there. Come on, Yuri. 2 men, less than half health. Yuri, unit preservation. Again, you do not send in a unit with, again, that little health and that little men. That's just begging for them to be killed and wasting. Though he did thankfully retreat there, it could really have gone badly. So that was quite poorly conceived, and apparently, never mind, I'm slightly wrong, it can fire from the top window. I actually never seen that before. But then again, that's the fun thing about learning about Company Heroes. Again, you learn something every day. In this case, MGs can fucking fire up the top window. That's actually pretty cool. But there we go, Grenadiers having some success there, mortifying away. But note here, though Made4war figured out there was nothing covering the flanks, and he's actually turning the MG in the fire. These Grenadiers need to get up there as well. This is turning very, very ugly for the Germans. And they've still not really to connect a lot of territory. In particular, Yuri has not secured a single point. That's very bad. And in fact, all of this has yet to be connected as well. I mean, there's so many problems in that. So many problems. They need more infantry out for starters. I mean, Yuri's only got 1 squad of Grenadiers, which in itself is not really commendable. And we're just seeing Made4war constantly launching attack after attack, hoping to basically overload the MG. And there we go. In fact, he's forcing away the support teams again. In that sense, Yuri extended too far in without enough infantry. Again, infantry is much more important in Company of Heroes 2 than the first game. But there we go. Looks like these Grenadiers are winning against the conscripts, dropping them out in the snow. Although there we go, a quick Molotov. 1 Grenadier down. Come on. And there we go. We do quickly see Jim retreating. More conscripts moving up to hit the flank. Lovely job there from Made4war. And again, just note the Russians hold most of the map and also have the resources connected for a longer time. So in that sense, Not really sensible capping order from the Germans either, but again, Yuri really needs to pick up the slack. He's playing absolutely awful. He's not taking the technical point. He's lost a lot of units without actually doing much damage either. I mean, those really also had a few alarms blinking in his head, and let's pop over to Made4war. With 3 squads of conscripts. He's also got the Molotov, and he's quickly moving on to the support weapon company. Apparently Mehmet also went for that, interestingly enough. So neither of them will be going, at least initially, for penal troops, scout cars or snipers. It will be machine guns, mortars and field guns. So the 230th Rifle Division is really getting ready to hammer into the German lines. The Sperrgruppe Ritter. Sperrgruppe basically means blocking group. It was usually a more defensive form of Kampfgruppe the Germans would form. Usually whatever they could put up, usually not the best of troops. And then would be reinforced with whatever they could have, and then would sort of, you know, try and block off areas. And these grenadiers need to retreat. Again, don't stand out in the Molotov. Yuri, again, your unit preservation leaves a lot to be desired. Movement of troops as well. It rather seems like Yuri here might feel a bit overtaxed or something. I'm not entirely sure, but we're seeing more troops moving up. Molotov here on the MD again. Yuri not quite thinking it through. Running about with his MD in front of the enemy, allowing him to figure out where it's going to go, and then Molotov it. Really, Yuri, get it together. You're a disgrace to the fatherland. And there we go, the MD got cleared out, so right there Yuri just lost himself an MG42. Mortar not really doing too much better either. These Canadians need to get out of there. Again, Jim Hatana's men are not looking brightly so either. There we go, almost wiping out this conscript squad unless Made4war quickly retreats. Much to lose it. There we go, 1 man left. Fedorov running, remembering the time he ran from the bullies and then from the NKVD. And mining right as he's under fire from an opponent. Not really well far out there from Jim Hatana. And again, these Canadians need to get away. Again, that little health and that few men, get them out of there. And a field gun has up there from Mehmet. And looks like we are seeing a second one. They're apparently rather worried about the German Russia vehicles or armor. MG has been recruited, but again needs to get out of there. Come on, Jim, get them out of there. Save your men. And this squad as well. And we're still not seeing a lot of infantry from Yuri, although he's finally beginning to take some bleeding points. About damn time. It looks like we are seeing Jim Hatana has received a scout car from some unit. Though of course with the increasingly fortified front line they're not going to be that much help. As we're seeing now a field gun as well from Made4war. Looks like the Russians are spamming field guns. That's pretty inordinary to see that many field guns up. These Canadians need to get out of there, although the scout car could tip things completely in their favour. There, go down to 1 conscript. Will Made4war? No, he did not make it. And so Sperrgruppe Ritter claims a life. And again, just like the Kampfgruppe system, Sperrgruppen would usually be named after their commanding officer. That was sort of more, again, the ad hoc nature of things, and again would usually sort of, as according to German theory, sort of form the nucleus so people could identify themselves with something or someone. Again, the sort of unit identification purpose was very important for the Germans because it also helped ensure cohesion. Scout car upgrade again. No, the upgrade really sucks against infantry at the moment, in particular since they did not add in that splash damage I was supposed to according to the patch notes, though hopefully they will fix that during the week. Scout car rolling up here against the conscripts though. We're seeing a half-track pushing up here from Yuri. Grenadiers with light machine gun though, again stop up. You don't want to run up close with it, you usually want to shoot from medium distance. Again, the light machine gun is a light machine gun, not a submachine gun. It does not fire on the move. It looks like the conscripts are taking a pacing, but there we go again. Too close to the Molotov. Again, Yuri doesn't really seem to be quite aware of what he's doing, which is a definite shame. He's not even moving the half-track. Come on, Yuri. Again, pick up the slack. Schnell, schnell. And we also note here we are seeing already 1 shock doctrine out. The one with the ISU-152 bombing strikes. All the nasty stuff. And these pioneers could also keep moving. Again, Yuri, pick up the slack. Schnell, move it, los geht's. And again, we see here they're going for the cut-off point. They're denying the Germans a lot of resources. We're also seeing a lot of units just staying about doing nothing from Jim as well. Again, passiveness. Don't be passive. Don't just have units standing about doing nothing. Again, that's another sin of the novice. And now these Grenadiers are being sent in on their own with no support, and they're going to come under intense fire. Submachine guns and these shock troopers from Mehmet has also gone for a shock doctrine. Scout car quickly rolls up, mortar rounds falling down. Scout car fails to do much, even they're making the slightest impression upon the Soviets. Take your time to look at Jim, who's gone for fresh strong armor. And there we go, field gun directly hits the scout car, knocking out the engine in the process. One more hit, and there we go, scout car is kaput. Another fuel cache going out. Again, Yuri needs to get more troops on the field. He needs a bigger combat presence at the moment. Another problem. Holter Panzer goes to note he's just hacking straight up against all the field guns, which is actually an awful lot of fire his troops are being faced with. Not just the guns themselves, but all the support gunners. And he's just in there. He's not even trying to get behind them. What are you doing, Jim? Damn it, Jim, they're Panzer Grenadiers, not super soldiers. And there we go, they're simply getting blasted to bits, and now the shock troops are there as well. I mean, it's incredible that Jim, for some reason, seems to have a hard time overcoming the concept of getting behind the field guns where they can't fire their guns at them. And there we go, he's lost 2 squads, 2 of the field guns. That was absolutely poor in terms of tactics, but also unit preservation. That really should not have happened there. And apparently since Jim doing it, I'm suspecting others might be doing it again. Don't. For heaven's sake, don't. When you got 3 Soviet field guns blasting away at you, don't stand out in front of them. That really shouldn't be necessary to point out. And again, get them up. Why don't you retreat, Jim? Why don't you retreat? Do you hate Germany, Jim? Do you? Looks like though Yuri's actually making some bleeding progress, but at the same time he's not really engaging the enemy, leaving rather Jem to do it all. And as already seen here, Jem is not exactly the man for the whole unit preservation business, it seems. Or not. Oh! T-34 moving straight through the S minefield, not really taking any damage. S standing for Sprengminen, which basically means jumping mine. And we're seeing lots of T-34s, in fact both players have gone for them, and yeah, 2 Tankovi battalion commands. Panzer Grenadiers trying to do the best, but they're going to get overwhelmed. And again, note the T-34 is much more lethal now against infantry, so that's something you actually want to be careful with, although looks like the Panzer Grenadiers might get a bit lucky, although right there, Fritz was crushed beneath the treads. 1 more dead beneath the treads. Come on, Yuri again. Oh, and he just lost an entire squad of Panzer Grenadiers. Not really well conceived right there from Yuri. Though again, there's also some not quite well-conceived thoughts here from the Soviets. They're not, for example, branching out very much, which also rather indicates that perhaps not as very much coordination between the two. And then they're just going for the exact same unit. I'm not saying that shouldn't be possible, but even the slightest variation might have been beneficial. But of course, now the Germans have another problem. They can't really stop the tanks because they've got no packs, they've got no tanks themselves at the moment. Oh wait, there's a pack still. Problems. Conscripts being stopped by the MG still placed there. And again, directly at the field guns again, stopping up in front of them. Although we do see a bun grenade there, right behind. Clearing out the crew in a nice explosion. T-34 stuck there. But gets the crew. Yes, indeed. Panzer come back here, and these Grenadiers just need to get out of there. Come on, Jim. Field gun blasting away this MG. No, don't move it further in, Jim. Ach du lieber. It seems like Jim seems to think that unit preservation is something that happens to other people. Lots of units just being gregariously wasted, although we also see the Soviets rather again partaking in some of the same ideas, charging straight into MGs, panzer grenadiers, front grenades, clearing out several squads. So I mean, not like the Soviets are awfully much better. Again, there's rather flippant usage of infantry, armor. And there we go, finally our panzer arrives to support the Sperrgruppe Ritter.
Panzer 4 is ready for battle.
Quickly moving forward to reinforce the front as panzer grenadiers run the other way. And T-70 light tank making its way up to clear out that MG finally. Took them long enough. And 2 field guns cleared out. There we go, T-34 finally wrecks. Well, T-34 finally wrecked by the Panzer IV, but also lack of units now. Again, Jim's been suffering rather badly, to put it mildly. Let's have a look over at Yuri, who's got a larger force, but still he's also suffering a bit. No recruiting of the pack, by the way, and he's gone Festung support. So they've both gone for this sort of semi-defensive doctrines. We shall make a Festung out of this village. Yeah. Get the MG out of there, Jim. Again, unit preservation. While you're hoping the Panzer IV makes it. Saves the day. T-70 might go down there, but T-34 continues unabated up the right flank.
Our squad has been honored for its bravery.
And the T-70 is actually being allowed to escape by Jim. That's not good. And looks like another unit went down there again, and not really the best of unit preservation from either side, but so far the Russians are managing slightly better, and I think Mehmet might have made a mistake there. He might have wanted to get the other building instead. He's now got 2 tank heavy battalion commands. That's slightly awkward. And now, oh dear, Jim's really making a big mistake. He's sending in a tank completely on its own in a blizzard towards the enemy base. He's going to really have no chance reacting until it's too late. That is really tactically unsound there and really poorly thought out by Jim. So that's a definite shame, definite shame. And now Flaps is reacting a bit. My pardons. Now just stop and start the whole thing a few times. Shock troopers, machine guns hiding in the church. Still the poor placement of a Panzer IV right there from Jim. Really, Jim? And in fact, he's just going to push it further into enemy territory. Jim really here on a roll in terms of poorly conceived ideas. It seems, I mean, really, you should not be sending in a tank completely unguarded, particularly not into Soviet territory, because right there what happens? He rams it. Now, of course, he's just going to move anything else and just finish off the Panzer IV without being able to respond. And if Jim's really unlucky, it might even be abandoned. So, I mean, this is absolutely a terrible idea by Jim and really should not be attempted repeated. Now he's trying to wreck the anti-tank guns with assault rifles. Again, Jim really in a bit of a bender when it comes to bad ideas at the moment. Troops getting pinned to the ground. T-34 is advancing, T-70 advancing. Lots of infantry moving ahead, full speed. Panzer Grenadiers need to get the devil out of there. Slow advance on the flank. Troops in the half track, so slightly rolling out there. That's actually a good move by Yuri, although a bit belated. Artillery available for Yuri, and we're seeing a Stu coming out for him. Apparently the mortar crew has been promoted, much to its surprise. Apparently someone's lips has frozen to the tube. These pioneers also need to get out of there. Also rather interesting to note, of course, is how passive the Soviet players are at the moment. They're not even attacking. They're not pushing in advance, which is giving the Germans ample of time to regroup and counter-attack. Possibly even a bit more coordinated and a bit more sensibly. Though we do see the field guns now being recruited, we also see here a T-70 wreaking utter havoc on that half-track, gaining veterans in the process, though getting panzer-fired by the Grenadiers. Need to get out of there before the T-70 tears through them. Hopping back to Mehmet, calling in lots of shock troopers, and note though he's not upgrading a single squad despite having so many munitions. I mean, that makes no sense whatsoever, to be honest. I mean, shock troops really need the submachine gun to be any kind of effective, so why he isn't doing is a bloody mystery. T-70 tank here in dire straits is getting blasted by both Panzer IV and a pack, and there we go. And the ensuing explosion blows up the nearby house as well. Stug rolling up, firing away. Again, no, this Stug needs to get out because again they have lower health now, lower range. And while more accurate, they're still lacking the splash damage they're also supposed to receive, so that's a bit of a shame. Come on, Yuri! Get it out of there, save the Stug. Panzer is counter-attacking up the flank. Looks like the Panzer IV is going to try and follow up. And in theory, if the Soviets could gather up some fuel, he could actually try and call in an IS-2, which would definitely be bad news for the Germans. Panzer gunners need to get out of there. Panzer IV needs to get out of there. So the field guns will probably turn, and there we go. Med-22 field gun, come on, Jim, retreat your troops. Save your Truppen. Come on, Jim. Don't be silly. We'll be also noting a bit of, unfortunate unit placement himself from Mehmet. And again, still not a single upgrade despite having a ton of munitions. Oh, Jim just lost another squad of Panzer Gunners. It's really starting to become a bit embarrassing. As again, there seems to be this sort of lack of actually learning from what's going on, slightly catching up, and perhaps I should, retreat my troops a bit more often rather than constantly losing them. Looks like the T-34 might go. And of course also not Mehmet floating a lot of resources. He could easily build a few cats, and there we go. T-34 has been abandoned. This Panzer IV though needs to be pulled back. It's got a little health, not very much health left, so come on. Jim, pull it back, save it. Gunners here getting caught. Jim again spreading over, trying to do too much with too little. No, don't move the Panzer IV forward. Oh, Jim, you... Oh. But we are now seeing Mehmet suffering very heavily. Made4war definitely not doing well either. Again, unit preservation is a bit of a problem with both of them. Get that T-34 back and get that Panzer. No, he's moving it forwards. He's moving it forwards, and he gets it abandoned as well. I mean, if the Soviets get it, that's going to be the worst trade-off ever, unless you're the Soviets. Handing over T-34 in return for Panzer IV is great. The other way around, not at all. I mean, really, Jim? Really? What did you think you could achieve with a damaged Panzer IV when you knew there was a Veteran-22 field gun nearby? What did you think? And looks like a bombing run might be in. Yes, indeed, bombing strike. Clearing out the Grenadier squad, almost wiping out another, and the Stug, absolutely devastating stuff right there. Well done by Made4war. He's definitely the brighter of the two. Panzer IV getting repaired, another half-track out there, and he's just spamming them and floating a ton of manpower. It really seems like there's no clear plan going through the head of Mehmet. Just spam a few units and throw them at the opponent. Even when there's pretty much a well-defined plan right in front of his nose. Get an IS-2. Good lord.
Standing by.
And again, I mean, I can't even describe what he's thinking about this. I mean, I suppose he just wants to in half-track to kill as much infantry, but still he needs some armour. And he needs some better unit preservation. I mean, really, why isn't he going for the heavy tank? That's pretty much a novice-proof plan half the time. I mean, well, 1/3 of the time, but still, it certainly offers him something that can, slightly survive. Yet he's not doing it. And again, he's floating so much manpower, it's unbelievable. It almost seems like Mehmet's just sort of frozen mentally. I mean, all I can say at the moment is, you know, just don't do this, Mehmet. Don't float 1,500 manpower, no. Don't waste resources on silly things, you know. And bloody well work your way towards the IS-2 if you have the doctrine. I mean, at this stage, you could easily build several fuel caches to speed up not just his own, but his teammates' fuel gain. Why he isn't doing it is beyond me. And again, we're seeing here Jim just throwing away units. It is quite astounding just to note how much he continues at it. And there we go, pack wrecked by a bomb strike. And my apologies for the difficulties, might be hitting a slightly rough patch of the hard drive. Hopefully defrag and some other stuff can help that out a bit during the night. Anyways, currently most of the fighting is being left to Made4war. Mehmet is not really pulling it at all. And now Jim is using his T-34 to ram the Panzer IV, but again awfully close to the enemy, and we're actually seeing Made4war getting an ISU-152. This is really, again, poorly conceived by Jim Hatana. I mean, I'm amazed at how he just sort of effortlessly comes up with such bad ideas without any really consideration. I mean, what was he expecting would happen afterwards? He had nothing to actually knock out the Panzer IV with, nothing to damage it with. And apparently had not even made consideration that more of the enemy might be there. And now in particular there's an ISU-152. I mean, again, it is quite amazing. But there's absolutely no consideration. And my god, Made4war's got a ton of conscripts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squads of conscripts. Gott im Himmel. But he's certainly getting some effect out of it, that's for sure. But still, Panzer is doing what they can, clearing out so much of the infantry. Sturg nearby, and there we go. Panzer squad wiped out. Again, why he insists on keeping a squad of Panzer gunners in front of the ISU-152 is mind-boggling. Yet, nonetheless, Jim Hatana continues unperturbed, undisturbed. Though we now see Yuri rolling up tanks and assault guns. The Sperrgruppe Ritter continues to strike back at the 230th Rifle Division. Also, fun thing to note about a rifle division was actually usually much lower on manpower than a German or Western Allied infantry division.
Your troops are freezing to death.
Panzer Gunner is retreating. And Panzer is secured by the Soviets. But again, it's becoming rather strikingly clear that Made4war is definitely the better of the two Russians, and even he can't seemingly keep this up. ISU-152 heavily damaged. And looks like a Panzer IV command tank pops out there for Jim Hatana. Die Befehlspanzer. And we're now seeing that Yuri is moving on to the heavy Panzer Corps. Yuri is also securing the front line slightly now. He's making some better progress. And more importantly, he's actually preserving his infantry, unlike Mr. Jim Hatana, who seems to be making a sport out of wasting units at this stage. And there we go again, rolling in a Panzer IV. No idea what's in there, no idea what might be waiting for him, he just does it. And now Mehmet building another building. This time though, he actually built something other than a tank battalion command, getting up the mechanized armor compania. The question becomes, what does he intend to do with it? Again, why can't he go for... So, Mehmet's actions are pretty much making very, very little sense unless he's convinced, like a few oddballs are, that the IS-2 has been rendered utterly useless, which it actually hasn't. If anything, it's been made a lot better. And also note here, using the conscripts and the common units, you can actually repair quite fast this ISU-152. Quite a handy little ability there this doctrine gives with the conscript repair kits. Can also be quite helpful for some team game. You can then sort of quickly repair your teammates' tanks with the conscripts as well. So in that sense, it's a very much well-suited doctrine for armor support. Not just, you know, on a 1 versus 1, but also in larger team games. Infantry marching straight into Jim Hatana's Panzer IV. Again, they need to get out of there. We are seeing once more the ISU-152 52, and these panzer grenades also need to get out of there before they get wrecked by it. Come on, Jim. Panzer IV taking a wreck hit. Also note, Panzer IV does provide some bonuses that make it slightly harder for the, I believe, the enemy to actually damage them. But again, Panzer Grenadier Squad wasted. Again, Jim really trying to think this one through. And these Grenadiers need to get out of there before the RG-152 finish them off. Come on, Jim. Also making some progress here with Yuri. He's holding up the other half of the map decently, and we are seeing Panthers arrive to support the Sperrgruppe. Moving forth, but again, note, it's only when you're in your own territory the bonus applies. Note now how much damage the Panzer IV takes. Get it back, Jim. Back up, pull up some smoke, get out of there, Jim. Unit preservation, armor tactics, come on, man. Over to Jim. In fact, it's time also for the mid-game analysis of the current situation. It's sort of a 50-50 split. We are seeing the Soviets with the heavy armor, we're also seeing them overall numerically lacking a bit. We also note here that Mehmet is pretty much now utterly lacking behind, as even Jim is sort of getting some semblance of a strategy together, whereas Mehmet is just building stuff, and he's, for example, not going for what really benefits him, which is actually using his doctrine. He's got one of the stronger ones, and he's not using it at all. He's not even getting the KV-8, so really Mehmet seems to have utterly lost it. And Made4war is the one doing all the fighting. He's doing it quite well now for the RG-152. Jim, on the other hand, really needs to get it together with his unit preservation. He absolutely needs to work on it. It is absolutely frighteningly bad how he consistently manages to waste units and never seemingly getting them even remotely close to Veterancy 1 at this stage of the fight. But if he can continue to keep things up here, Yuri can continue to build up a force, and he might be able to then strike in and deliver a serious crushing blow to Made4war. If that can happen, they might win this fight. But again, that actually involves that Jim Hatana actually sort of manages units lost to a certain extent, so he doesn't lose them that fast. If not, well, yeah, game over. And again, for Mehmet, he needs to get his act together as well. Not likely, and in that case he needs to push up against Jim Hatana, allowing Made4war to focus on Yuri, because currently they're both allowing to focus on Made4war, and they're going to slowly grind him down, which is a problem. And of course, another possibility is there that, for example, Jim Hatana might want to use, his Pack 43. That could be used to actually put a serious dent in the ISU-152, but that is so far rarely seen, so it might not happen. But let's return to the fight. Oh, it does happen. In fact, the Pack 43, second biggest anti-tank gun the Germans had. The biggest one was the Pack 44, which was a 12.8 centimeter anti-tank gun. But this one's pretty big, and also note it has a considerable range. So overall, a very, very nasty anti-tank gun. And also note just here, even this is just pretty big. This is the variant that was actually mounted on a howitzer train. It was actually supposed to be sort of on a crucifer mount, a bit like the Flak 88. But early ones did not have that. And again, pull the Panzer IV back. And again, pop smoke. And get them repaired. But no, Panzer IV wrecked. Another wasted unit from Jim Hatana at this stage of the fight. Pretty much fall. And then you got the other Panzer IV wrecked. This ISU-152 is just tearing through them. And he just seems to be allowing it. But there we go. Pack 43. Absolutely massive anti-tank gun. Just needs to focus down this target. Come on, Jim. And there we go. Takes out a huge chunk of the ISU-152. And, I mean, Made4war needs to focus it down or lose his ISU-152. But seems not to be happening. And there we go. Another hit, and just note how quickly it's gaining veterancy as it fires on the ISU-152. 2 shots, and it's already veterancy 2. There we go, almost veterancy 3. And it just becomes more and more lethal as it gains veterancy. We're also noting here that Mehmet again is just doing the same mistake as Jim, and is just rushing in SU-85, although it is slightly better against infantry at the moment than the SU, because it actually got some splash damage. But we do quickly see Yuri locking this down with his tanks and armor. I mean, that's just a wasted SU-85 by the way. And we're seeing here the Pack 43 is very much on its own, but again, massive anti-tank gun, one of the biggest. and really going to put a dent into any advancing armour. And with that, the Sperrgruppe Ritter might have a slight chance in holding the Soviet advance. But again, Mehmet barely has any units left. And actually we're seeing the ISU-152 being recruited and veterans free for the Pak 43. Can he get it this time around? But again, Jim just rolling in his Panzer IV. And still not a single shred of smoke, but there you go. Pak 43 finally gets the beast. And Yuri is actually abandoning the front line completely. He's got a ton of units. He's got more than Mehmet, but he's actually leaving Mehmet to do most of the fighting at the moment, which is, well, bad. And again, Mehmet, true to form, just rolls in units and gets them killed as we see a huge wave of conscripts from Made4war. And now the Pak 43 is going to get overwhelmed, which is definitely a bit of a shame. Molotovs and the Pioneers. Not entirely sure what he's intending there with the Pak 43. Firing back at the field, it seems. And there we go, we are seeing that Yuri is on the move. His tanks are rolling forwards. And there we go, the Pak 43 anti-tank gun has been cleared out. A most definite shame. And in fact looks like Made4war is trying to steal it. Channeling against the fascists, but no luck. And we see veterans for this Panzer IV. And Mehmet has barely any units left, although in this case it could also partly be blamed on Yuri for again not providing any support for most of that fighting. But we're also noting that Mehmet is pretty much of very, very little use by now. Who continues to build buildings, but nothing really seriously, and again not really getting an IS-2. We're seeing another one ISU-152 from Made4war. Depressing stuff. Grenades, other fun things going up there. Grenadiers need to retreat. Pak 43 has been accrued. Not really effective against infantry, which also currently rather limits its effectiveness, because it's basically otherwise just a huge target which only works against tanks. We also see now the IS-152 is about to get into range of it. And there we go, Pak 43 fires at it but misses the first shot. Minor engagement over here, combat scripts versus Panzer Grenadiers. Pak 43 might come under fire from the ISU-152 in fact. But Panther so far is the one taking the damage. It looks like a bombing run. Yes, and the Pak crew gets killed. Incendio till he goes in, and there we go. T-34 sending on his own again. Mehmet clearly hasn't fought that one out at all. Sending a single T-34 into the thickest of the fighting is generally a bad idea, in particular when it's doing so alone. Panzer Grenadiers and conscripts fighting out continually over there. A desperate fight. Another Panzer IV from Jim. He seems to only get Panzer IVs, and he seems just to lose them quite quickly, which would rather highlight a person who doesn't understand. Looks like this house is now completely burning down to the ground. Stuart getting blasted at. If only the Pak 43 could fight the ISU-152. And a smoke shot in front of it. Oh, there we go. Pack 43 is gone. Field guns also being recruited. Germans are not attacking. In fact, they believe. Oh, wait, there we go. The attack is going in. They might try and knock out the ISU-152. But no, they lose their courage and retreat instead. What a shame, what a shame. Yuri also now getting a Panzerwerfer to lob at his enemy.
We have a fresh grenadier squad. Grenadiers.
Bit of Panzerwerfering. And now the fighting seems to die down a bit. In fact, oh, it's time to look at Yuri for some moments ago. My apologies. And again, Yuri is clearly so far the one doing so far the best, but that's all because he's not the one losing units sensibly and can't. Well, basically just joining the fight a bit more sensibly. Now he's running straight in front of the ISU-152 with a huge clumped up infantry. That's generally a poorly thought out idea. And there we go, ISU-152 just clears out the mortar. And a nearby infantry unit as well. The Panzer grenadiers were wiped out. That was really, really poorly done there by Mr. Yuri. And Jim fighting a desperate battle over here, already getting molotoved. Panzerwerfers failing to do much as more field guns are once more being pushed out to the front line by Mehmet. Realizing he needs to do something, he seems to just push in field guns, which of course will help against all the tanks, unless of course they get flanked, in which case they're pretty much rubbish. There we go, advancing straight into heavy Russian fire. Veterans run for the Panther there. Panther IV Stug moving up, going in after the ISU-152. Veteran 2 Stug, Veteran 2 Panther IV, but needs to be careful, needs to be careful. Panther IV flanking up. And there we go, the ISU-152's down, but the Stug needs to get out of there. So does the rest of the armour. Taking direct and concentrated fire from all the field guns, damaged engine. And a veteran 2 field gun, there we go, T-34 running sword and going to ram it. That was definitely not well thought out there by Yuri. Trying to use his Stug like a tank, which it is not, so that was a tragic waste of a good Stug. And looks like a light field howitzer is going up now for Yuri, going to bombard the Bolsheviks. It's time to return to Mehmet. Who's now getting a ton of penal squads as well, the Stravniki, and getting more T-34s, but still not even the slightest remote chance of getting an IS-2. And there we go. Howitzer is ready. And opening up. And already getting off some nice kills due to against the high concentration of the COH2 right around this point. So well done there. And Jim Hatana about to probably lose another Panzer IV, but that again just seems to be part of his usual waste and failure to understand how tanks work. And how infantry works with tanks. Sniper down, not entirely sure what they were trying to do with that there. And there we go, looks like field gun. Nope, that was the T-34 that got knocked out. fresh barrage.
Wizard is passing.
Howitzer of the Germans has actually got nerfed. It has slightly less AoE now. Slightly less. On the other hand, it is considerably more accurate than the Russian howitzer. And also shoots faster, and you can also give it the counter battery ability if you want to clear out Soviet artillery that might be within its range, which can also be quite handy. Veterans, the fleet conscripts going up here gets versus a Panzer IV. Some Panzer is hiding inside a house, not looking good. At least the Germans are in fact controlling all 3 victory points. Yuri wants more leading the way. His tanks still need the repairs.
If we die, you die. Watch out, we're under attack. You have it.
Right hand seems to be slightly forgotten now. On the 2 sides, and a quick incendiary barrage right there. We do quickly see that Yuri is quick to retreat. His grenadiers, by the way, all upgraded with light machine guns. That is a good move by Yuri. Saturn charge against the grenadiers. They need to get out of there. Come on, come on. And no, they got wiped out. That was a definite shame. And looks like Jim is trying himself with another pack 43. The Sperrgruppe Ritter trying again.
Shock troops have arrived.
And another ISU-152 up from the Russians. That would be the 3rd one, and still not a single IS-2 out from Mehmet, who continues to float an obscene amount of manpower. Again, don't float manpower. Again, try to spend it on things. Don't just hang about doing nothing.
Incendiary artillery is now available.
And in that regard, Mehmet is failing rather grievously. Howitzer continues to bombard, but doesn't actually seem to hit anything.
We taught those infantry a lesson.
And looks like Yuri is almost ready to roll. Last Panther receiving its repairs. And of course the Pak 43 is ready to stop a few Bolshevik tanks as well. Mounted on the Elephant, as we know, also on the Nashorn, and also the Jagdpanther and Königstiger. Basically a very, very nasty gun. And looks like a grenadier squad are almost wiped out there. German armor slowly rolling out in the north. Jim, another Panzer IV. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother with that one. Looking at a Made4war. No, he actually managed to have 1 Panzer IV survive for a bit. Mehmet building up a series of T-34s. The ISU-152 firing away. No. Oops. Time really striking, and there you go. Incendiary barrage strike against the Pak 43. Panzer IV flanking. Lovely, lovely. And a veteran 2 Panther moving against the ISU-152. And there we go, destroying the ISU-152 because he knows he cannot recover it and he doesn't want to risk his opponent getting it back. So thus he just shot it. Always a possibility. Quick bombing strike going in against the Panzer IV, interestingly enough. Hoping that, yes, well, it's Jim, so he's not paying attention, obviously. And there we go. Panzer IV down. Other Panther not rolling up. Mehmet sending in all the tanks he can muster. No, not really having much luck with it. Except that 1 Panzer IV. One T-34 is down, no movement at all, not constantly trying to keep at the rear of the Panzer IV, again, poorly conceived, and looks like the T-70 forgot the final shot, knocking out the Panzer IV. Looking very grim for the Russians for the 230th Rifle Division. Looks like the Sperrgruppe Ritter might have held them off, though at an incredibly high cost, largely due to Jim Hatana's actions. Panther in the center of everything. Bench 22, Panther 4 moving up. And T-70 went down like the Titanic. All 3 victory points in the hands of the Germans. Looks like a total collapse. And looks like Made4war has been utterly drained due to the actions of his teammate. And there we go. Game over. A loss for the Soviet unit for the 230th. A victory for Sperrgruppe Ritter and the Wehrmacht. So, what can we learn from this again? It largely came down to that old, favourite of novices. Again, poor unit preservation, sending in units into situations where they have no thing of doing what should have been back reinforcing and healing up. Again, consider reinforcing, consider preserving your units. I mean, Jim Hatana really, I don't think he ever got a veteran to 1 or 2 unit. He lost so much, it was absurd. I mean, really, just would also send tanks in on the most absolutely dumb ideas. And again, cohesion in how you use your forces, have them working together, and don't just send tanks deep into enemy territory. And again, keep an eye on their health, know when to pull back, reinforce. Again, Jim clearly did not know that. And okay, also don't just spam the same units over and over again. Doctrinally, he chose an alright doctrine, he just didn't quite fully understand it at times. Again, didn't use smoke discharges, sort of knew how to use a command tank. Alright, good use of using the Pack 44 so far. The first one I've been able to show it off in, so that's nice. But clearly the better player of both sides were Made4war and Yuri. Problem was that Yuri was definitely the better player, the one with ultimately the better preservation. And again, ultimately because Made4war really had to pull duties for Mehmet, because Mehmet spent so many resources on buildings, sometimes the same buildings, so clearly he wasn't paying much attention to what he was doing. And then again, just spamming a few units and then losing them a lot. Again, terrible unit preservation, but also clearly no inch of a strategy going on there. And no sign of the IS-2, which definitely could have helped. Because again, poor ideas going on there. Again, Made4war did its best, but ultimately Mehmet was dead weight. Very much dead weight, and that's definitely a shame. You have to struggle with that. So I mean, some things to consider. Again, also, floating resources. Again, if you find yourself with a lot of resources, know not what to do, just build something, just train something. Better to just figure something out along the way. But again, those are some of the primary things to work on. Unit preservation, resource expenditure, and of course, they could also have been flanking more, but it was also rather much, just slug out fights. Not much flanking, not much aggression from the Soviets either. So there you go. Hope you learned something from this match. If you did, why not subscribe? Tell your friends. If you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own? Provide some feedback in the comments. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.